What's going on, guys? It's John here from Hot Take Hockey to talk about the extension of Zdeno Chara. He signs a one-year contract for next year, so he'll be staying for another year in the NHL. This is a guy that's 42 years old. He's the tallest ever to play in the NHL, and he's on a Bruins team right now that, as he signs this contract extension before the playoffs, could compete for the Stanley Cup. So Zdeno Chara, before we get into the details, what does he bring to this team? Obviously, the size is the obvious part of it, but the experience. Obviously, a Stanley Cup under his belt. He's played in the international level. He's played on a couple teams, but for the bulk of his career, he's been the captain of the Boston Bruins. And a leader like that, a captain like that, who's been with the team through the ups and downs, now with young guys, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in the video, but just being a mentor for Charlie McAvoy has been huge. But let's get into the details of the signing. So for next year, it's a $2 million base salary, so $2 million AAV against the cap for just the 1 year, $1.75 million in performance bonuses. He will get those performance-based incentives based on, obviously, milestones throughout the year. Chara, who is in his 21st NHL season and 13th with the Boston Bruins, he's appeared in 55 games this season, recording 4 goals and 7 assists for 11 points with a plus 16 rating. So if we're comparing to other points in the league, whether it's with Colorado, with like an Ian Cole, or with a Toronto, like a Ron Hainsey, these are just kind of veterans I'm throwing out there. A guy like Zdeno Chara to have another year, especially the leadership part of it, but it's a veteran that can bring other aspects of the game, not just the experience, not just the penalty killing abilities, because I will say for the penalty killing abilities, that reach is definitely significant. But for a lot of teams, you bring in an older guy, a guy that may not be the greatest, who has slowed down, and yeah, I mean, some of the attributes for Chara is that he is slow. He's a lot slower than he used to be, but the factors for Chara and the positives for Chara, especially at the age and now at the $2 million price tag for next year, definitely outweigh the negatives. And I think for a lot of teams that bring in those veterans, they won't have a guy like Chara at a cheap deal like the Bruins will. So in terms of his career with the Bruins, he has led the Bruins to a postseason berth in 9 of his 12 completed seasons with the team, including obviously the Stanley Cup. He ranks 6th in franchise history in games played, 948, 4th in points by a defenseman, 452, and that's behind Hall of Famers Ray Bourque, Bobby Orr, and Dick Clapper. So he's got the resume. The resume is clear. Bringing him back for another year is obviously significant. Like I said, back to the fact that the team is competing for a Stanley Cup with the roster they have right now. Chara, who is the second oldest active player in the NHL, is also the longest tenured captain in the league, having worn the C for the Bruins since the 2006-7 season. 6'9". I mean, the guy is huge, and we should make a video eventually, just going back on his season by season, just the career he's had. He's had a very successful season. There's a lot of guys that can't say they've gone through or can't say they've won a Stanley Cup through their career. Zdeno Chara's already done that, and he's at 42 and still wants to go another year. Chara ranks 4th in games played among actives with 1,478, plus minus 256, penalty minutes 1,892, and 10th in shots 3,169. He, over his 20-year career, I mean, Norris Trophy in 08-09. He was the recipient of the Mark Messier Leadership Award in 2010-2011. Named the first All-Star team 3 times, second All-Star team 4 times, and was selected to play on the NHL All-Star Game 5 times. And obviously he's played on an international level, like I said, for Slovakia. Slovakia obviously doesn't have, I mean, we're talking about, there's Marian Hossa. I mean, they have a few bigger players that have been on the team with Chara, but Chara is one of the bigger names to come from the Slovaks. He did play for Team Europe as well for the World Cup. We're still waiting for another World Cup, hopefully eventually. And yeah, that just looking at Chara's career as a whole, it's just really impressive. And I obviously wanted to have a conversation about it. I wanted to make a video. I'm not too sure how many people are interested to talk about it, but it's a guy that is staying on for another year before even playing out the playoffs. Because who knows? The Bruins could win the cup. Chara could have a really rough playoff, maybe an injury, knock on wood, hope for the best. For Bruins fans and for people that watch Chara or a fan of Chara. But at the end of the day, yeah, it was. I mean, maybe it's a little soon to be signing the extension, but the guy's committed to play another year. He's committed to be leading the Bruins for another year, and he's obviously had a really impressive career, regardless of the haters, regardless of the people that might not have a liking towards him. You can't deny the fact that he's had a really successful career, and he's a future Hall of Famer. So, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel, drop a like. Would really appreciate the support, and comment your thoughts. Chara sticking around for another year, and what you think in terms of defense, in terms of NHL history, in terms of defensemen today, where he stands in the league. So thank you guys again. This was John from Hot Take Hockey. Have a good one. Peace out.